And that one's called Are We There Yet? And it's basically a short scene pulled from a longer short film that I want to make. And Ciara, you can talk about your thoughts on Are We There Yet?
So, well, let's just put this out there. Savannah and I are best friends for life. And so I, started dating very seriously my boyfriend at the time, Taylor, and now we are married. And it was basically a very, big change in both Savannah's point of view and my point of view.
It's funny that, like, you're getting married and I'm like, whoa, this is, like, a really big change. I need to, like, process this.
Well, if anybody knew us, like, if anybody actually knew us in high school and beyond, it's amazing. We have been best, like, you have been my best friend since I was 16.
I have a picture of
and
my
I
desk.
haven't even, physically, we haven't even been in the same room.
That's true.
For, like, years.
We've been like long distance relationship longer than an actual relationship.
Right, yeah. So this is the proof that long distance relationships
can work.
So Savannah had a really great conversation without me actually on Valentine's Day.
I can't believe it was Valentine's Day too.
Yeah, well, it just so happened that I had caught a 100 and some degree fever on Valentine's Day.
Yes.
Not only did Savannah nurse me back to health, but she also accompanied Taylor on essentially what was to be a date with us. So, I'm glad because, Taylor, my fiance at the time, and Savannah went out and had a great conversation. And to both of our surprise, Taylor and I's surprise, she felt inspired and intrigued enough to write something about it.
Yeah.
And so, in a way, I'm honored. In a way, I'm perplexed as to why she thinks
that's funny.
This is worth writing about, but I'm gonna trust it because everything I've seen her do is A+. So I'm just kind of like, whatever. Savannah knows what she's doing. Yeah, I got to see the I guess like a rough cut version. Not only was it really dead on to the character types, being a conversation between, Savannah and Taylor, knowing them both very well. But it also, honestly, in a way for me, it kind of crossed a barrier in the way that, there's a lot of, I guess, differences in beliefs, but at the same time, what this scene kind of captured is that those differences in beliefs, I guess you would call them faith beliefs, are not all that different.
Right. Yeah. I think it's funny because so many religions are so anti-other religions. Or just, not even anti, they're not blatantly anti, they're not going to be like, I don't know, some of them I'm sure are, but it's more like they just deep down, they're like, I know I'm right, and like, you know what I mean? When essentially I feel like, I haven't read a ton of religious texts, so I'm speaking purely on, just like my own experience with people who have.
Yeah, me neither.
But I feel like they generally preach the same things, and they're usually basic goodness in some sense or another.
Yeah.
So it's definitely, religion was definitely like a big motivator in that piece, and I think that's explored even more in like the longer, so it's a scene from a longer short that I wrote. So I wrote like a 20-page script, and that's like a 1 or 2 page scene from that I expanded to like a 5-page scene. So so I think the longer short would be interesting because you sort of start to see how that religion informs the characters outside of that one conversation. So it informs the relationship specifically. So I definitely think down the road I want to make the longer short, maybe in the spring sometime. So that's definitely something to stay tuned for, probably in the monthly newsletters. And yeah, I mean, I think I don't know what it is that makes me think like, oh, this conversation's significant. I should make this into a screenplay. It's an interesting.
Because
it's a good question. So, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
I agree though. It's definitely, maybe people don't write this stuff because it's such an unknown territory. Like you said, many of us don't know a lot about religious texts, like in general, right?
Right.
So, like,
so it feels like I shouldn't write about that because I don't know what I'm talking about.
Right. Yeah. Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, I don't think we encounter people enough on a daily basis to like go that deep. You know, people think that talking about religion is like that's like politics. You don't talk about that at the dinner table.
And that was something that like struck me about your fiance at the time, now husband, was that because I don't know very many.
Struck me too.
You're the most religious person I know, you know, except now him. But you know, I don't know very many people that can talk about it so intelligently, you know, and so like confidently, and just like the presence that he has when he talks about his religion, it was what struck me more than anything else, you know.
Yeah, no, absolutely, yeah, I mean, and I think that the thing that I appreciate about Taylor and what you said, like the presence that he has, that when he talks about it, he just really like comes to life, and you see that.
Yeah.
I feel like everybody wants that.
Yeah.
Even I do, you know. I mean, I'll be honest. I don't know, you know, even in myself that when I mean, if I'm in a bad mood or something, I'm sure I won't talk about it.
Right.
Or I won't have the same kind of grace and patience and confidence.
And I feel like that's kind of what the character is thinking that whole time. She's like, man, like I'm missing something huge if this is like how some people feel, you know?
Yeah. That, I mean, I think that if you don't feel that from watching this, if you don't question your own, you know, wow, what is this that's stirring up in me? Because it does. It stirs something up in you. You don't question that, then you're not a real life. I mean, and this is something that I didn't really think about heavily. I don't know about you, Savannah, but I didn't think about this in high school.
Right.
Like I did. You know, I went to a very small, like, Christian college, and the reason why I think I kind of started being curious about this is because I was in a community that kind of propelled me to be that way. But I also think that, you know, for example, with your other project, Artful Comments, something traumatic like that will also spur this kind of, I mean,
those kind of deep life questioning thoughts,
Right, yeah. So, you know.
Right, and the need for a faith, because that was, I mean, that was essentially the year that I started getting into meditation and reading Buddhist texts. That was exactly why I started doing that, actually.
Yep.
It was all part of my recovery process from that. Well, I'm wondering, you know, like, because essentially the night before that shoot, my actor bailed on me. It was like 11 o'clock at night, and he was like, I can't do the shoot tomorrow. And I was like, actors.
God bless.
God bless.
God bless them.
And
you know, if I had a little talk with them.
and so my boyfriend's good friend was over drinking like Coronas with us, and he was like, I'll do it. And I was like, okay. And he doesn't act at all. He's like total non-actor. So I'm curious, when you were watching, what your thoughts were on his performance, and like, was it like, did it cut the?
I was like, Taylor and him should be best friends. No, he was incredibly. He was that was, you know, the personification of Taylor really to a T in a way, because, you know, he had a very inviteful, you know, playful essence about him, and that's a major I think, a major kind of attribute to how people will be invited to watch this, you know, and not feel conflicted about watching it, not
Right.
feel like they're being judged.
Right,
you know?
or being preached to either, you know?
Oh, right, yeah,
Yeah.
and I mean, good.
Oh. Where'd she go?
Drinking Coronas the night before.
Yeah, literally, he was, like, over to just drink beer.
That's
and,
great.
Yeah, the fact that he, like, I remember it was like half an hour before people, like, the crew was gonna get there, and, he was, like, still asleep, and I was like, Matt, because he slept in our house, like, and I was like, Matt, you have to get up if you're gonna do this, and if you're not, I need to call and cancel, because, like, my DP is coming from an hour away. But he got up, and like you said, he did it, and the female actress, Josephine, she's amazing. She's like, I cannot wait to work with her again, but she helped a ton too, like coaching him, and definitely like her level of expertise with acting was crucial to getting the best performance out of him too.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah, it was really cool.
They both, I mean, honestly, I love it when that happens, because, you know, that's all part of the faith of, like, what we believe. Like, you know, you have to hope for something more. Okay, well, if this actor bailed on me now, instead of freaking out and, like, being pissed off all day.
Right, yeah.
And, like...
Which would be easy to do. I was so close to being like, I just, like, would rather call it quits than, like, take the risk of having everyone come here and work for me under this, like, you know, and as it turns out, I don't have an actor who, like, not that doesn't know what he's doing, but he's, you know, he's a non-actor. He did some acting, you know, growing up, but, so,
well,
it was a huge
turned
risk.
out probably better than you had planned.
Yeah, it turned out really, really well, and I think, and that was a really fun surprise. I remember thinking, like, well, every time something goes wrong on a film set, and I go with it, it ends up better than I originally planned for. So that's, and I'm finally learning that. So, like, it was definitely a really good exercise for me as a director in, like, letting go and not controlling. You can't control every little thing. So this was, like, you know, a way to take a really big thing and make it into an exercise. A big thing on a small project.
Yeah, no, awesome.
Very cool.
Awesome.
Cool, we'll make this a little special on that little short. So if you want to see the longer short, subscribe to the monthly newsletter, primrosepathproductions.com. Okay, cool. So like the Primrose Path Production Company on Facebook, and most importantly, subscribe here to the YouTube channel. You won't regret it. It's going to be really fun. Sign up for the monthly newsletter, primrosepathproductions.com/subscribe. Thank you. Thanks, Ciara, for coming in to the office, clearly. And you all have a good rest of your weekend, month, day, whatever it is.